Ah, fall. Leaves are changing, pumpkins are spicing, and Grammy nominations get announced, sending all of us into a frenzy. Watching the Grammys is like being a Knicks fan. Everyone throws a massive fit when things don't turn out the way they want them to, but they come back next year with the exact same delusion that things will be different. Many would argue that the Grammy for Album of the Year is the most prestigious award in music that you could possibly get. It's the pinnacle of music achievement. I mean, why else would Jay-Z throw a fit over Beyonce not getting one when she already has 32 wins in other categories? 32. She has more Grammys than I have friends. I don't even think I know 32 people. But none of those stupid awards matter if she doesn't have the coveted AOTI. So in honor of this joyous occasion, I thought it'd be a fun idea to listen to all 8 Album of the Year nominees to determine which one really deserves to take home that weird tiny looking tuba thing. Cause yeah, the Recording Academy is made up of a bunch of well-accomplished people who have been working in the music industry for decades. But are any of those people small music commentary YouTubers that have videos on both Kanye West and Taylor Swift? Like, probably not. GNX by Kendrick Lamar, MUTT by Leon Thomas, Mayhem by Lady Gaga, Man's Best Friend by Sabrina Carpenter, Let God Sort 'Em Out by Clips, Swag by Justin Bieber, DeBÍ FOToS by Bad Bunny, and Chromakopia by Tyler the freaking Creator. For this video, not only will I review all 8 of these projects, not only will I rank all of these 8 projects at the end, but for each album, I will pose my best case for why I think they deserve Album of the Year. Some of them are gonna be easy to do, some of them are gonna be kinda hard to do, but at the end of the day, each album here is nominated for a reason. So my goal is to figure those reasons out. Please leave a like. Before we get started, can we take a second to appreciate me? I've already listened to 6 out of the 8 albums that are nominated this year completely on my own accord, without even thinking about it. I feel so cultured. GNX was released November 22nd, 2024, and marks a career-defining era for Kendrick. He showed that being a worldwide phenomenon and staying true to your roots don't have to be mutually exclusive things. Some would argue that GNX is Kendrick's most shallow album and one of his weakest ones. And while I can't fully weigh in on that just because I haven't listened to his entire discography yet, my response to that would be that palatable does not always mean shallow. GNX is to Kendrick what Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is to Tarantino. It may not be his most transcendent work for the way it's meant to appeal to wider audiences, but it's still him doing what he does best, creating a project that feels distinctly him. My favorite album of all time is Good Kid, Mad City. Go watch my video on that if you want to see me fall in love with that masterpiece for the first time. I actually have it right there on the shelf. A lot of that album centers around Kendrick's upbringing in Compton, LA, living in a low-income household, being surrounded by gang violence, and specifically how that upbringing has made him who he is. Everything he would go on to do would be for his city and for all the people that weren't able to make it out like he was. I see GNX as him reaching the pinnacle of that, reaching the peak of his career and sticking to his guns. That message is definitely my biggest takeaway from this album, especially looking at the many features, all of whom are LA-based artists with names as big as SZA and names as obscure as Lefty Gunplay, allowing this album to bring together different artists of different magnitudes that all share similar roots to Kendrick. It's basically like his LA pop-out show if it was translated to an entire album. Now, this project is very hook-driven, which isn't a surprise considering he collaborated with esteemed pop producer Jack Antonoff. But at no points do I feel like that steps on this album's lyrical content. You have some fun upbeat tracks like Squabble Up and TV Off, but you also have some really deep reflective ones like Man at the Garden or Reincarnated. And call me a glazer, but at the end of the day, I kind of feel like the simplicity of any of these songs just kind of reminds you that even though Kendrick has mainly gotten his praise for being an insane lyricist, he's also a talented musician. Not a lot of rappers could melodically go toe-to-toe with SZA on a track, and Kendrick does it. He still gets kind of mogged, but it sounds okay. I love Luther. Your Honor, in the Big 25, we as a collective have grown to appreciate authenticity in our music. And when looking at the list of nominees for AOTI this year, GNX stands out as the most unadulterated of the bunch. While many have grown to view this album as nothing more than a victory lap to close off the big year that Kendrick Lamar had in 2024, I'd argue that that's an oversimplification. GNX is not Kendrick Lamar doubling down on the Drake beat. It is Kendrick Lamar doubling down on the very fundamentals that jump-started his entire career. With this album, he enjoys the fruits of his labor while also deconstructing his own boastful perspective that he's had throughout it all, and realigning himself with the values he finds important moving forward. That, paired with the handful of radio hits and infectious choruses that this album has to offer, allows Kendrick Lamar to have his cake and eat it too. GNX is an intimate and introspective album, which sends home the themes of responsibility and existential achievement. And for that reason, Your Honor, it deserves Album of the Year. After rising to fame as Andre in Nickelodeon's hit show Victorious, Leon Thomas got his start in the music industry producing for names like Ariana Grande, Rick Ross, Drake, and of course, I Touch That Fire For You, I'll Do That 4 times again, I Testify For You. Snooze by SZA won him his first ever Grammy in 2024, and now 1 year later, he's back with 6 nominations for this album. And I was shocked to see it here. I was not expecting it to be nominated this much, let alone for Album of the Year. But I'm happy for him, you know, because it's a great album. The opening track, How Fast, sets a very cinematic scene with strings and a car revving and driving around from ear to ear. And you could really feel the excitement and the pun intended drive that Leon has for his return to solo music. Feel like I just got off the stage with the Grammy. What follows is a collection of smooth ambient R&B songs, weaving some really raw instrumentals with a softer, echoey vocal style. And I think that stark contrast serves as this album's signature. R&B is easily the most cathartic music genre. I mean, that's why I love it so much. And what I've come to really appreciate about this album is how it blurs the line between Leon's presence as a vocalist and the instrumentals. As you listen, again, everything sounds so ambient that you don't really find yourself distinguishing between the two. You just feel all the emotions that the songs are evoking. I will say the concepts to some of these songs are super surface level. There's a song called Feelings on Silent where the chorus just goes, if I could put my feelings on silent, like that, and that's it. By the way, it's just that one line, but it doesn't really matter, you know, because if there's one thing that this album can do, it's put you in your bag. Next time you got insomnia and it's like 2 in the morning and you're laying in bed, you can't sleep, listen to this album, specifically songs like Answer Your Phone. You're toast, bro. Actually, don't subject yourself to that because it's just pure pain. MUTT, the title track, is obviously the big hit off of this album, and it's a freaking banger. Here's a clip of me singing it. Gonna let my guard down for you. Said I put my guard down for you. It plays on the idea that this guy isn't really looking to be nonchalant. He knows what he wants, and he's trying to go for it right now. He's a dog trying to get his treat. And that concept ties into the whole album, with Leon's mannerisms when it comes to that girl kind of mirroring those of a dog. He's eager, he's fast, he's impatient, but he's also like so down bad that he's basically her pet. Really feels like man's best friend if it wasn't ironic, except the roles are switched, so it's okay, no controversy. Your Honor, this album may not feel like the most ambitious of the bunch, but allow me to direct your attention over to track 4 off of MUTT, Vibes Don't Lie. You see, Your Honor, the vibes of this album are just completely unmatched. And one could argue that music is first and foremost meant to convey emotion. At the end of the day, an emotional connection to these songs is what makes us appreciate them. And the melancholic energy of this album is absolutely infectious. The instrumentation is riddled with heart, and Leon's vocal deliveries give this album a subtle but distinct character. So MUTT should be Album of the Year. I rest my case. MAYHEM marks Lady Gaga's 7th studio album release, and similar to GNX for Kendrick, this project feels like the conclusion to a hero's journey for her. This is an album that I discovered relatively recently, only like a month ago in YouTube time, but it's casually become one of my favorite albums of the year for the ways that it prioritizes substance and personality, while not sacrificing the qualities that give this album its pop appeal. Obviously, the AOTI category has proven to be a pop-dominated one in the past, for a lot of reasons that all kind of tie back to just one big reason that's really simple. The music with the widest amount of appeal is gonna appeal to the widest amount of people, including the people that vote for this award. So MAYHEM has a pretty good case for that reason alone. But disregarding that, I think that this album has Gaga showing more precision with her work than she ever has. The best songs on this album have infectious choruses, strong and heavy vocals, rich instrumentation, and concise structures lyrically. The worst ones on this album kind of drag a little bit, like The Beast. Not a fan of that song at all. I just don't need to hear about this guy's meat that's so freaking massive that it's like a monster inside of her. Like, that's freaking gross, dude. But overall, this album feels like the type of project that couldn't be made by anyone else. In a lot of ways, it is the culmination of her entire career. Like, through all the trial and error, dipping her toes into different aesthetics and genres, she's returned to the style and I guess the shtick that she started with, but it's different now. The stakes feel higher, the sentiments feel stronger, it feels more personal. And that's all not even mentioning Gaga's vocals on this album, which are just freaking amazing, dude. It may be biased, but I think this sound is the best you could possibly get from Gaga. Her voice naturally oozes passion and angst, and it perfectly lends itself to the guitars and the punchiness of this album. You know, while this album doesn't feel like it's gonna be that substantial long term, in my opinion, it's the greatest modern pop star of all time, showing you A, that she's still got it, and B, why she's always been the right person for the job. Nobody in pop music has an edge like hers, and nobody in pop music takes their work as seriously as she does. Obviously, that's a really big blanket statement, but it's just how it feels. By now, it's become general knowledge that above musicality, above thematic content, above anything, the Grammys love a good story. I could see the headline right now. Gaga and Beyonce both win their first Album of the Year award decades into their career, showing the younger stars of our generation that mothers know best. Shout out Tangled. And for that reason, how could you not choose MAYHEM as AOTI? Clips is a hip-hop duo consisting of Pusha T and Malice. They formed in 1992, released some projects up until the 2000s, before going on hiatus in 2009. And they're also brothers, which, as a brother, that's really cool. I mean, That sounds bad. As someone that has a brother, I should say. That's really cool to see. Let God Sort Him Out marks their first release in 16 years. And you know, a nomination like this could look like it's kind of obligatory because it's their first album back together, and it's also their most successful album that they've ever put out. But let me tell you, all right? This album's freaking phenomenal for a lot of reasons, but I feel like it really just comes down to this project feeling so straight to the point. For the most part, the beats are very minimal, but still polished. None of the cadences are too exaggerated. Even the few catchy hooks that we get on this album don't feel too overindulgent. It's 40 minutes and 52 seconds of rapping. And to see these two rappers who are like kind of getting up there in age, you know, I'm not gonna be ageist, but they're getting up there, like late 40s, early 50s. Still have so much to say and not come off as these bitter grandpas that are like, oh, hip-hop back in my day was not about choruses and not about beat drops, it was about freaking bars. It's just really cool to see. And with them getting Kendrick and Tyler features on this project too, felt like them actually embracing the evolved state of hip-hop, but just saying their piece, you know? As a Tyler fan, one of my favorite tracks on this album is POV because it's so rare that you hear him in a setting like that, where his tone is more reserved and he's just rapping, and I think he sounded great. I think the verse was pretty solid. Another standout track to me is Ace Trumpets, just for how rich in metaphors and double meanings it is. If you look at the lyrics on Genius, you could literally click on every single line of the verses and there's a different explanation for it. Like, that's actually insane, bro. I can't really say much else because I did only listen to this album once for the video. I know I'm probably barely scratching the surface with this project, but we got other albums to get into, so take it away, Lawyer Jason. Your Honor, out of all of these albums, none of them get even close to touching Let God Sort Them Out when it comes to having lyrics jam-packed with metaphors, entendres, and overall value. Nothing about this project is decorative. Nothing about it is flashy for flashy's sake. It's just raw expression. On top of that, I know you guys at the Recording Academy love a story. And two brothers forming a hip-hop duo in the 90s, going on hiatus for 16 years and coming back with potentially the greatest hip-hop album of the decade. I mean, come on, let's just give them the AOD right now. Band's Best Friend is Sabrina Carpenter's 7th studio album. I know, she has 7 freaking albums. That's crazy. For those of you that have seen my video on this album from a few months ago, I should say it's grown on me a lot. The truth is, when it comes to pop music, nobody is pumping out the amount of quality content at the rate that Sabrina is. I'll show you what I mean. In the last 2 years, since the start of 2023, she's released a deluxe for her 5th album, a Christmas EP, her 6th album with 2 of the biggest songs of the year on it, a Christmas special, a deluxe for that 6th album, and now a 7th album. That's insane. And take into account that each of these projects, even the Christmas special, I'd probably rate like at least a 7 out of 10. It's clear she's trying to make the most of her time on top, and you know what? Good for her. Go get your bag, queen. But I bring that up because I think the oversaturation of Sabrina's output lately has led to people overlooking this album. I'm not gonna come out and say it's her best one because, let's face it, we all know which one that is. I just think this album is one of the biggest pop stars of the moment, showing why she is in that position right now. It's not life-changing music, it's not revolutionary, but it's a bunch of infectious pop songs showcasing different blends and styles that highlight Sabrina's versatility. Sabrina draws inspiration from the 60s for this album's aesthetic, and I think that shines through quite nicely. When it comes to her vocal deliveries, she presents herself with a poiseness that feels very classy and vintage. Her deliveries aren't oozing with personality in the same way that they are on Short and Sweet, but her personal touch shines through in the lyrics. As we all know, Sabrina Carpenter's character is not necessarily very classy, so there is a fun kind of irony there too. Now, to play devil's advocate, because again, I do like this album personally, one could argue that this nomination is also obligatory just because Sabrina is so popular right now. The Academy is like looking to recognize her success in a way rather than nominating this for the quality of the actual album. But while everyone loves to talk about when artists do new things that are super experimental, I think doing the simple thing really well should also be applauded. As far as basic pop music goes, this album doesn't miss a beat. It's firing on all cylinders for all 12 songs without a single dull moment. Out of all of the artists nominated in this category, Sabrina Carpenter is the only one that's not in her 30s. So sure, you could give AOD to Lady Gaga for her album standing as proof that she's not washed. You could give it to Clips for the same reason. But the fact is, with the one exception, all of these artists are yesterday's stars. And Sabrina Ann Lynn Carpenter is right now. Rather than proving to the world that she's still got it, she's proving to the world that she has it. And that deserves to be recognized in real time. After Beyonce's win, is your goal to play catch up with all the artists that you snubbed in past years? Or is your goal to be present? Sabrina Carpenter is the present. That is all. After a 4-year hiatus, Justin Bieber is back with his 7th studio album titled Swag. And I know in the beginning I said I was gonna be super positive in this video, but I have no idea why this album was nominated like at all. Now don't get me wrong, there's plenty of songs on this album that I really like. Daisies, Butterflies, Way It Is. But like, I just don't understand how someone could listen to the Drewski interludes on this album and be like, oh, this is album of the year right here. But we're being positive today, so let's be positive, even if it is gonna be very very difficult to do. Justin Bieber has made plenty of attempts at R&B/soul in the past, but of all of them, this one feels the most committed to that, and this one feels the most genuine. And with that, I think you get to see a much rawer and authentic side to Justin's creativity. The man can definitely body a cute pop melody like no other, and I appreciate how he doesn't shy away from playing into that strength for this project. But the most memorable aspects of it definitely come from the intimate songs. Go Baby, Devotion, Yukon. Oh my god, Yukon's a freaking banger, dude. I just, sorry, just 1 second, Your Honor. Oh god. Your Honor, Justin Bieber is a father and a husband. He has an overpriced clothing brand. He plays basketball in a rec league. Mr. Kim, is there a point you're looking to make with all of this information? Your Honor, swag is so swaggy. The fun songs on this album are so fun. I know that Sexy Red says what you need, baby, this the coochie shop twice on Sweet Spot, but Justin's verse on that song is not that bad. Mr. Kim, we don't have all day. Either you've got a case or you don't. No, wait, please. I do have a case. I just need a second. Come on, Jason. Think. Me plus you equals one time. Peeing in a janitor bucket. Pink beanie in an oversized gray suit. Haley Road Cosmetics. Jack Blues, Bieber, Scooter Braun, City Sweetie, Mackin in a park. Nah. She confident. Shoot. Your Honor, the meteoric rise of Justin Bieber in 2010 was unlike anything we had ever seen. And in the years to follow, we all watched as a growing teenage boy would make the mistakes that anyone would make at his age under the biggest microscope imaginable. Now, Swag may not be the best album when it comes to quality of music, but rather what it stands for. Everyone in the world, including you and I, Your Honor, are the ones that contribute to toxic tabloid culture. We are the ones that sat on our couch and judged as a 17-year-old peed in a janitor's bucket, knowing full well that you peed in a trash can when you were 21. Objection. That was my own trash can and I was drunk. Not just his career, but Justin Bieber's life is the perfect case study for the downsides of being a celebrity. And to see a man who's gone through what he's gone through and made it out the other side, presumably well adjusted with a wife and a son, is a true blessing to the world. Because, Your Honor, had Justin not turned out like this, had he turned out worse, it would have been on all of us for putting him on that immeasurable pedestal for his entire life. And that is why Swag should be Album of the Year. Let's go! DeBÍ FOToS is the 7th studio album by world-renowned Puerto Rican recording artist Bad Bunny, or as I know him, the Caddy and Happy Gilmore 2. This album marks the first time that Bad Bunny has ever been nominated for an AODI award, which I think is really cool to see. You know, he's been such an icon in American pop culture for so long. It was only a matter of time before the Grammys started treating him like one. Now, I should probably address the elephant in the room. I'm freaking Asian. So obviously I couldn't truly understand the cultural significance of this album or even any of the lyrics, but hey man, the way I see it, a banger's a banger. Nueva York's a freaking heater, dude. So I can't give this album a complete review, but I'm just gonna walk you through my thoughts while listening, and maybe you guys could flesh it out for me in the comments. This album blends a bunch of different sounds and styles together. Is it bomba? Is it reggaeton? Is it salsa? Is it house music? It's a blend of all of them. And the way it handles these blends in moderation, kind of trading in with the different sounds, is where I think this project gets its signature flair, or at least how it stands out to me. Baile Inolvidable is a track that starts out really spacey with some reverb vocals and a synth melody that seems to be gradually building to something, but then they cut it all out with a telephone soundbite and boom! A traditional salsa song with no alternative qualities to the production at all. The way that Benito, can I call you Benito? Maybe we're not there yet. I'll just call you Mr. Bunny. The way that Mr. Bunny is able to blend these different styles without having them step on each other's toes gives this album a lot of variety and sends it on a really interesting trajectory. Most of these songs will start in a super elusive way, so you aren't really sure what direction they're gonna go in, and at some point, either smoothly or abruptly, will drop into a nice house or reggaeton groove. Lots of sounds and styles that I was not very familiar with, but I did enjoy. But aside from all that, all those great things that I just said, Mr. Bunny's presence on this album is what I think makes it. You know, sometimes you're drawn to an artist because their presence on a song is super dynamic and passionate, but I think Bad Bunny's presence is just so nonchalant that I'm standing there like, damn, I want to be this guy. He has like a raw magnetism that carries some otherwise pretty simple melodies, and every ad-lib, every cadence is just so fire. It's just so fire, bruh. So I decided to do a little bit of research after filming just to get a better idea of this album's whole thing. And it seems like a lot of this album's subject matter is Bunny trying to get over an ex, another heartbreak album. But with all the ways that this album homages traditional Puerto Rican culture, I kind of see this as a double meaning of sorts. See, one of the last tracks on the album, I forget what what the title is, but I'll put on the screen. Talks about how Puerto Rico is gradually becoming a more popular tourist spot and like low-key getting colonized by Americans in the Big 25 is crazy, man. So with both his ex and his roots, he finds himself clinging onto something that he feels is slipping through his fingers. It's an album about reminiscing while also anticipating an even bleaker future. Really fascinating, to be honest. I might make a video on this album if you guys want it. I don't know, let me know. Your Honor, do you know how hard it is to see as much success in the United States as Bad Bunny has without making any music in English? Bad Bunny has recently been announced to headline the Super Bowl halftime show this February, which speaks volumes for the cultural impact that this album has had this past year. And as an Asian American who knows nothing about Latin music, even I could see Bad Bunny's drive and his talent. Bro just has insane aura. What else can I say? Over the years, Tyler the Creator has been one of the main artists spearheading the boom of hip-hop in mainstream culture. If you ask really diehard rap fans, it's possible that they'll say he's a little overrated, but if you ask me, I'd say that Tyler's appeal transcends genres. Chromakopia is Tyler the Creator's 7th studio album, and I think that this project is freaking amazing. It reads to me like a culmination of everything that Tyler has learned, all the tools and tricks that he's gathered throughout his career. Each song sets the scene of a hyper-specific situation that has you questioning throughout the entire album how the heck he comes up with this stuff while doing it in a way that's so easily digestible. And on some of the later tracks, Tyler gets pretty introspective, talking about the things that he's given up in his life because of his career and the trauma and issues that prevent him from being able to connect with anyone. There's this sense of isolation that you feel while listening to this project. Not because the production style is minimal or somber, but because it's just so vast and inexplicable. One could truly only come up with an album like this by sitting in your own thoughts, letting your imagination run wild. And yeah, again, I have to stay pretty surface level because we gotta move on, but as I've spent the entire year sitting with this album, as Tyler's gone on to release more music after it, I can't help but think this is the project that he was born to make. I've never listened to an album that feels so grand in scale regarding its production and regarding its concepts while remaining this deeply personal as well. Your Honor, Chromakopia deserves Album of the Year because, as far as overall listening experiences go, there's simply nothing like it. Chromakopia transcends genres, it transcends melodies, it transcends everything that you think music could and should be, yet somehow anyone could press play and completely understand. We have had the chance to cover a variety of great albums with a bunch of great cases for why they deserve to be Album of the Year, but none of those projects are the feat that this album is. Chromakopia is not an album, it is a cultural phenomenon. It's a moment in time, and for that reason, it deserves to be Album of the Year. Your Honor, we as a society, we as a music-consuming community, are not looking to be appeased by these awards. All we want is for the winner of this category to be determined solely by the impact of the songs that they entail. Not because of any pop culture context, not because of a surrounding narrative, not as a hat tip to someone having a successful year. As you make your decision today, I just hope that you choose a project that is truly a feat in music and a feat in music culture, not anything more or less than that. Thank you, Mr. Kim. You may have a seat. Today, we have heard from one terrible lawyer, 8 mediocre cases for why each of these albums stands above the rest. After consulting with the jury, it is finally time to narrow things down and make our final ruling as for who will take home the Kimmy, which is just a little Snorlax toy. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to dismiss both MUTT and Swag. MUTT, man, it was impressive for you to even be nominated, so keep up the good work, King, and tell your grandma I said hi. And as for Swag, girl, I have no idea how you even got here, but congrats, you're here, I like ya, you got a few fun songs, but no. Congratulations on great years to the both of you, but you are dismissed. GNX, by no means were you a disappointment, but we already gave you your flowers for 2024 in 2024. Unfortunately, there are just better, fresher albums here. You are dismissed. Man's Best Friend, you are a concise album, you're a grower, not a shower. The fact is, this album was so successful because of Sabrina's persona surrounding it, not because it's a great album. And let's be honest, Short and Sweet had better hits. What do you want me to say? But I got a feeling you'll be back, Sabrina. Keep up the good work. You are dismissed. DeBÍ FOToS, another instance where it was a feat for you to be nominated for this category at all, and you should be proud. You really are pushing boundaries. Unfortunately, in this political climate, we are just too pussy to take that risk. You're dismissed. That leaves us with 3 albums remaining. Mayhem by Lady Gaga, Let God Sort Them Out by Clips, and Chromakopia by Tyler the Creator. Clips. Oh, you created a truly phenomenal album, a tight album. An album that lyrically had so much more to say than any of these other projects. And arguably the best album here. But you're just too niche for this award, dude. You're dismissed. Mayhem and Chromakopia. You are truly both accomplishments in music production and in songwriting. But unfortunately, there is only one name in this card. The Kimmy goes to Chromakopia by Tyler, the Creator. Yeah, you guys probably saw that coming from a mile away. Honestly, I just think that Chromakopia is freaking iconic, and the only album to come out this year that felt like a big cultural phenomenon that could like fully back up the hype. And the rest of these albums were either not as climactic for the artist or not as concise and consistent in quality. I feel like I'm blazing, but I'm just being honest, guys. So that's my choice for album of the year, but here's a ranking of all the albums, all the nominees that we covered today. Honestly, the thought process that Judge Kim shared with us today is what I would assume the Recording Academy is thinking as well. If they're chasing headlines, they'll give it to Gaga as a nice little act to follow Beyonce's win last year. If they want me to respect them at all as an organization, then they'll give it to Tyler. As always, comment down below your thoughts on the Grammy nominations this year. Which album you think deserves to take home the coveted AOD? And also leave a like if you enjoyed. It helps out the channel a lot. You know, we're trying to grow out here, so it'd be really nice if you did that. I'd appreciate it. And I'll see you guys in the next one. I pronounced this court meeting adjourned. Did I say that right? Something adjourned.
Saw that Grammy noms were coming out. Got excited cause I really doubt that they would've snubbed The Weeknd again, especially since his career's about to end. I don't know why they hate him so bad. It confuses me. I don't care why they nominated Swag over HUT, but maybe this could be a major dub if it gets him to drop another Hurry Up Tomorrow was snubbed of Album of the Year.